Hello and welcome to the Audacity Factor podcast. My name is Catherine Daw. I am the host and founder. Here you'll find me on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at the Audacity Factor. You can always also find me on Patreon, where you can get extended content, some free swag if you're some of the first members. So check it out there, Catherine Daw, the Audacity Factor. Also called the Audacity Project on Patreon. So I just wanted to talk a bit more about Audacity, and during these times, during most of our lives, there are times where we have to be audacious, be courageous in order to make choices that we value, choices that are good for us as opposed to bad for us. And not that we don't all do plenty of those, because I know I have. A lot of times that can seem to stem from my ability for fearlessness and boldness and almost thriving on a particular level of uncertainty. I don't need certainty in my life. Maybe some things. I love having a home. And for me, that's kind of a rooted kind of feeling. And for me, home is about rest and thriving and nurturing, comfort, welcome, a place to kind of discover insights, wisdom, to congregate, which is always, I think, for most people on some level or another, connection and community is a place where we find compassion and support and love, connection, belonging, even. I will tell you one thing, though, is that if you are driven by fear and your connections are based on fear, those are not connections that feed you. Those are connections that draw from you. So be mindful of that. When we operate from a place of fear, we then create expectations. We create particular meanings for so many things. We have a tendency to be more easily manipulated and controlled when we're operating from a place of fear. So I encourage you to be audacious, be courageous enough to check in with how you're feeling with certain relationships, maybe certain social clubs or communities or friend groups. Are they based in fear? Or are they based in a true feeling of belonging and connection? You're able to be yourself, make your own choices and decisions without feeling like you have to follow the herd. And I'll tell you what, I've never been good with the herd mentality. And I've never been good with following the herd, what I call the cattle chute of the mainstream. It's carrying that, everybody's given a backpack at some point, it seems, filled with just crap. A lot of that is, you can consider it masks. I consider it scripts. Scripts, we're supposed to act a certain way if we're around this person. We're not allowed to say this. We can't do that. And it's so much of it is about what we can't do as opposed to what we can and feel aligned to do. And I encourage you to be courageous. Check in with your beliefs. Check in with how you feel when you're around certain people, when you're in certain environments. Do you feel good about yourself and the scenario, or do you feel uncertain? Do you feel fearful, or do you feel worry or anxiety? Like it's not okay for you to say what you mean and do what you mean. So in these days and ages, I really encourage you, because it can seem easier to go along with the crowd. But you know what? There are many different crowds, and the ones that are based in fear, I promise you, are not your crowd. They will not help your life thrive, will not help you feel good about yourself or about them either. Now, totally your choice always. Always, each one of us gets to choose. If you take a look at, if you think about the word integrity, if you think about the word audacity, you think about the word courage, where in your integrity does that lie? Does it lie anywhere? Or is the basis for everything you do about control, certainty? Is it fear-based? Afraid to do and be the wrong thing? Well, there's no such thing as the wrong thing. If it's true to you, true for you, if it's who you really are, there's nothing wrong. Each person is completely different. We know that. Why is it seem so difficult to accept it? But also, we don't have to look to others for acceptance. We have to be able to accept ourselves. And I know we can be taught differently. And depending kind of who you surround yourself with, what your thought patterns are, what your beliefs are, will depend on how comfortable you are in your own skin. So here at the Audacity Factor, it's about encouraging a level of audacity, a level of fearlessness, starting by doing something small, maybe that you really want to do, or not doing something you really know you don't want to do, but you said you would do. Going to dinner at that one place, or you really want to cut your hair off and somebody says, no, I can't believe you would want to do that. That can be super common, especially with women. I think we're supposed to have long hair. I've had some crazy wild haircuts in my time. And I think in the end, for me, it came down to it's just easier for me to have my hair longer. But, and again, my choice. I get to choose what my hair looks like. I get to choose if I'm going to put some eyelashes on, which I've come to find out I really love the eyelashes, but I want it for ease too. I want it to be easy. I don't want it to be complicated. I don't want to be messing around in the bathroom for half an hour just trying to get it done. But again, I get to choose. So many of the conversations I have with people over the years of coaching, mentoring, even just being the shoulder or the ear for others, which has been such a huge part of my life. It's really about, in the end, not me. It's not about, I want you to do what I say, how I say it. It's about ultimately you get to choose. I can make recommendations and from my own experience, what I've personally experienced or what I've trained in, but it's got to come from you. You've got to be able to make your choices with courage. And if you're operating from a place of fear, there's no way for you to make an optimal choice at all. Fear tends to fear feeds fear, but fear also breeds illusion. So if we can't face what's true, so we're operating out of fear, then how can you actually make a choice? And this is the way manipulation, coercion, control work. That's how they work. So they'll feed your fear so that you are just desperate for somebody else to make a decision and make the choice and tell you where to go, where to be, who to be, what to do, what to say, what to believe, even. But you know what? I promise you, with a little bit of courage, you can empower yourself to be bold enough, brave enough to check in with what's actually true in the present right now for you. And in the immediate time, you don't have to tell anybody about it, but it's important for you to take responsibility for it. If we're going to complain and we're going to point in fear, but we're not going to take the responsibility for it, to change the fear, not the it out here, Because we get to choose for ourselves. We do not get to choose for other people. That's manipulation, a need to control. And that's not you taking responsibility for you. That's you attempting to project and force others to make a decision on something you believe because you're not willing to do it yourself for you. You get to choose for yourself. I can't tell you how many conversations I've had, whether it's with clients, friends, family, as a parent. It can be one of the most difficult things to allow your child or children to experience their lives as they choose to do it. Because it's their choice. We don't get to dictate. So here at the Audacity Factor, my mission really is to empower you to tap into your courage, to tap into what is real and true, and not be led by others blindly. Facts are up to you to look into if you want to. If you don't want to, and you're scared, your fear then will continue to drive you in any decisions you try to make, and you will never have the faith in those choices. You will tend to let other people make them for you. Decisiveness is so important, and the ability to make empowered decisions. Now, y'all have heard me say it before. It's really only ever the two things. You're either going to breathe life into what you want, or you're going to breathe life into what you don't want. You're going to act and think and believe from a place of fear, or you're going to act, believe, and think from a place of love. That's it. It's only the two things. That's it. Fear feeds fear, love feeds love. But how can you have the life that you want to have if you're basing everything in fear and you're allowing yourself to be influenced by the herd, I want to say. Now, we all have our own beliefs, and we get to choose everything for ourselves. You have no right to take someone else's responsibility away from them. You have no right to take someone else's choice away from them. We all get to deal with the consequences of our choices and experience those. Because as they say, everything's a lesson. I know it can sound cliche. Doesn't matter, because it's actually true. Each person has a set of lessons through their lifetime. We don't get to take that away from anybody. And some of them can be horrible. And as a parent, that can be one of the most difficult things to do, is to watch your child have those experiences and go through them. But you've got to show a level of trust to them that they are completely capable of making their own decisions, no matter what the outcome. It might be something you hate, you don't want, might be something great. You said, and you think to yourself, God, I'm glad they didn't listen to me. Because that can be it. But we don't get to choose for other people. You have to start with you. If you want things to be better, you have to start with yourself. Taking full responsibility for your life and what's going on in your life, and what actually your integrity means to you. What words would you use to describe your personal line of integrity? For me, courage is one, for sure. Responsibility is another one. Love, compassion, truthfulness. I would rather have the truth than anything else, because we believe the truth can be scary, but a pack of lies and fear are what are actually scary. You know, they talk about vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable. I- that's something that I really our vulnerability stems from our traumas, because that's where you feel vulnerable to admit to some mistake or some trauma that you have because you're afraid somebody's going to judge you for it. So you feel vulnerable opening up and talking about that or sharing it with someone, that because it's about what they're going to say or do. But when we don't put the meaning to those, and when we don't let them have any power over us, and I mean, not just what somebody else might say or do, but the traumas themselves. When we let them have no power over us, no matter what somebody else does with it. And mind you, I spent 10 years in a relationship with a narcissist and gaslighter. He was a master of using my most tender secrets as weapons against me. So now the idea is for you to not allow them to be weapons, that it's impossible for somebody to weaponize it against you. And it could be anything. So this makes us actually completely invulnerable, allowing ourselves to let go of the vulnerability we experience that's all connected to our traumas and our experiences, our mistakes. Some of them can be horrendous. But we've got to be able to forgive ourselves and completely unleash any power that they have on us. And I mean untether. I don't mean like unleash. I've been the master of that before too. Unleashing my frustration and all the hurt and pain of the trauma. Oh my gosh. I used to consider it, all of a sudden I was like a fire-breathing dragon, from suppressing all of my emotions and all the pain and everything in regard to that relationship and some others as well. But however, so it's really up to you to decide for yourself. But if you want to make powerful choices, and if you really want to be able to create a better life for yourself, and in turn then, as a ripple effect, create something better for the lives around you. Now, this isn't about force. This is about an effect, the ripple effect. Because when people watch you, they watch what you do. They watch what you do. They hear what you say, but they watch what you do. And when you do differently, that will affect everyone that notices that, everyone that experiences it. And it doesn't matter what their reaction to that is, because you're doing it for you, not for them. So courage, responsibility, a level of commitment to yourself and what you actually want. Commitment to the truth. Because only from the place of the truth can we make actual empowered choices and take empowered action. Because unless you take action, it's only latent potential. Taking action is what will bring it into reality. Your choice, always. It's always about choices and the action we take based on those choices and decisions. So check it. All right, I'm out. This is video 1 of a series of 90 given myself a goal and a mission to do 90 videos in 90 days, one video a day. And this is number one.